Right, hello, hopefully I'm live. I'm going to see if I can get that stream setting working again. So let's do the pop-out dashboard and see how that's different than the other one. No, that's barely got any options on it. Right, let's not bother with the pop-out dashboard then. I'm just going to see, though, if I can get that thing to work. Right, hopefully you can actually hear me because I'm just trying to do this using the microphone that's actually built into the... All right, Visa? Can you hear me? Because I'm just seeing if the microphone works on the Osmo Pocket 3. I mean, it works fine when I do regular videos, but I don't know if it does on the webcam. So I told YouTube to use it, and I just thought I'd see how it works. But firstly, I want to see if the I can get that thing to work. Because I thought using this rather than the other webcam. Right, view in live control room. Yeah, good. Right, excellent. Yeah. So hello, everybody. Right. I'm just going to quickly see if the dual stream thing works. No, it still doesn't work. So regardless, even though I've tried this now with 2 different webcams, I've tried doing it through OBS and everything else. Right, that's good because I'm not using the clip-on mic. I'm not using the Boya mic. I'm just using the one on the Osmo Pocket 3. The nice thing with the Osmo Pocket 3, at least, is I can have it pretty much eye level with me. Whereas, obviously, if I do the webcam on top of the screen, it's all the way up there. So the funny thing is, again, I've had this camera all along. Because Hype very kindly sent me this a while ago. But what's annoying, I've also got more lighting on as well, because but it's the annoying thing that, you know, I spent like 80 quid on that Logitech webcam or whatever it was a while ago. I've had this all along, but a while ago YouTube wouldn't let me do live streams of this. It just wouldn't recognize it as a webcam, but it's recognizing it as a webcam again. So this is actually quite good for doing live streams. You can, I think, live stream through this using like your phone as an app, but I found I just like plugging it into the PC via USB and using it as a webcam that way. So yeah, like I said, this is what I use now to film most of my videos. Other than the shorts I just upload via the phone, if I do like a higher quality short, I film them using this. And like the video that's members only at the moment that goes live for everybody tomorrow, I film that using this. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's that. And yeah, like I said, so yeah, anyway, because this actually streams in 4K, but I think sadly with YouTube, the streaming quality only goes up to 1080p, doesn't it? Yeah, I just checked that, it only goes up to 1080p. Because if I stream via OBS and tell it to stream in 4K, YouTube starts giving you errors and says, don't stream in 4K, YouTube doesn't support it. So yeah, just the annoying thing is, like I said, there's this dual stream thing that shows up for me, but I can't do it. Because the funny thing is, there's an ultra low latency thing that says does not support closed captions, 1440p and 4K resolutions, but I can't stream in 4K full stop because it tells me with YouTube go back to 1080p. Yeah, I haven't actually tried it much for that. That's a good idea. So yeah, I won't be on too long today because, as I was saying to Hype earlier, I think I've caught one of the bugs going around. Like, I'm hoping it's not the really nasty flu, but if it is, because I've had the flu jab, I'm definitely not having it as bad as everybody else. I've just got a sore throat. There's bits of the day where I just keep coughing and coughing, and then other bits of the day when I'm all right. At the moment, I'm roughly all right, but I feel a bit fatigued, so I just thought I'll do a stream now, stay on for a bit, and then, you know, a bit later, if I fall asleep or whatever, it doesn't matter because I've already done the stream. So yeah, that's good to know. I might just do streams a lot more often with this now because, like I said, it is very convenient to actually do them. I've got the softbox light here, look, as well. So that is a bit glaring in my face, but otherwise, that's all right. Just out of interest, if I flick that off a minute, we'll just do that. Again, the lighting still isn't terrible without that. Because, again, the Osmo Pocket 3 does seem very good in terms of its light sensor. But if I put that there, what I do like with this is it doesn't seem to glare out as much as with a webcam on my phone. Whereas when I do a stream via the webcam or phone, it does the annoying thing where, what's the word for it? Like, you know, even if the light's not I'll try and show you. So if I did that, like, see how you get that like bit of bleeding of the light coming in from the side there? You get that way more of the webcam, so you have to be really good at positioning the lights. So again, that's the thing. What I did buy on Amazon today, even though, like I said, I'm not spending much now because of, you know, being between jobs, but, you know, I'll do more YouTube content in the short term, is one of those things where it goes on the top of the monitor like a webcam, and it's just kind of another softbox light like this that you can plug in via USB, just so when I do stream via a webcam or whatever, or do a video via the phone, I might be able to just clip it on top of the phone and then get yeah, you can mess with the Logitech settings, but again, I've never found a way of doing it that, you know, completely gets rid of the stuff. But this does seem pretty good with the autofocus. Let's just test that. And I'll test it with the FS knife, because that's generally pretty good at if it, you know, picks up the point. So if I do that right in front of it, will that, again, it depends if it wants to focus on my face or not. I think it's mostly wanted to just focus on my face, the autofocus, but again, with this, can I do the, yeah, I can do the manual focus thing there. So if I do that, I should just put it over there and then do it like that, so it's not on my face. Yeah, so you can at least still manually say you want to focus somewhere with pressing it, but I'll just get it to do it on my face. But yeah, again, like I said, it's weird because like YouTube seems to suggest it supports 4K, but it seems to be one of those things where maybe you can do 4K if you have the exact right settings or the exact right streaming software, otherwise it won't let you do it. But like I said, the other annoying thing is the fact that YouTube dual stream, I've physically got the option there. It's there on my monitor, but it's just a grayed out little tick box. It might be they've not rolled it out for my channel yet. But it's just one of those annoying things that it literally shows up. So I want to, you know, I want to use it, but it's just annoying because obviously, like I said, the option is physically there. It's just grayed out. I'll try and remember later on to send Mike Weapon Collector a message, because apparently he's done one so far and got it to work. So ask him how he did it. But if it was just a case of it worked for him, then that's not going to be a very, you know, good thing for explaining to me. But I think it might just be a case of the button shows up for everybody, even if they don't let you enable it yet. So my plan, all right, Saint, I was just saying to everybody else, a bit like you mentioned yesterday, that even using a different webcam today, yeah, like you're saying, with audio compression and bitrate and everything, with the dual stream thing still doesn't work on a completely different webcam. So I'll send Mike a message later on if I remember and ask him how it worked for him. But if it's just literally a case of it's not rolled out for my channel yet, there's not much I can do. And of course, as soon as I start streaming, somebody messages me, which is always the way. I've told them I'm streaming. But yeah, so the Osmo Pocket 3 is definitely a very good camera in terms of video quality, and like I said, it's really convenient for doing videos because you can flip its screen and then it either does vertical or horizontal video. It does 3K 3K vertical or 4K horizontal, you know. So I've just got it set to 4K now because now I've got like I said, good internet. I can actually just stick a 4K video on my PC and upload it. It's not an issue. Probably, yeah. I mean, I can kind of understand with YouTube if they have to compress it just because of the sheer amount of videos on their platform. You know, that kind of makes sense to me in the case of, you know, just if there's so much content on YouTube to fit it all on their servers, you know, they have to do that. But so, yeah, like I said, did the, it'll be live tomorrow, did the full like 10-minute review or whatever on the Chinese neck protector thing. Yeah, one thing, I wonder if on there it will actually show up the material. Yeah, that works way better than the let me just move it back a bit. That works way better than the Logitech webcam for showing the material that's made out of. Again, like I said, it's literally like the stab proof vest stuff they do in the police stuff. It's like a sort of plasticky cloth weave of some sort that's really, really resistant. But yeah. But like I said, this particular thing, the FS knife goes through it with enough force, but as you can hopefully see there. But with yeah, there you go. But with most conventional knives, they won't go through at all. It's pretty damn good stuff. But like I said, it was just one of those things I bought to see if it was any good or not. And yeah, it is quite good. Actually, I think I've got the knife right behind there. One. Yeah, like I said, that's really useful. So like I said, so if you get a regular knife and try and do it, look, that isn't going through. Even though that would have easily gone into a person. So you're saying, yeah, look, so I can do that against my hand. No worries whatsoever about me cutting myself open. That's this stuff is pretty damn good. Like I said, it's not as obviously durable as like a proper police anti-stab vest material, but it's way more lightweight and flexible. My area isn't so bad, Saint, but say I want to use a train, for example, to go up to Leeds or whatever to visit some of my mates, I'd probably wear it on the train, you know, after what happened recently. But at least with that neck thing, it's pretty damn comfortable. Like I said, it just feels like you're wearing like a fleecy sort of jacket. This material is literally like a sort of just against your skin. It just feels like a sort of fleece material, you know, like just a nice jacket material, like a cottony sort of material. So yeah, like I said, I'd have it. Yeah, so it's like I said, for where I am, I don't need it at the moment. But if I go on, yeah, it would fold up very easily. No, they just always send a sample. Apparently, with any of the products you buy from them, they send you a sample. So if you want to test it yourself, you know, without potentially damaging the main product, you can you know, can just stab the shit out of that. So yeah, just out of interest, I know this isn't how you're meant to test it, and I've already put a couple of little holes in this. If I put that flat on my desk there, and again, this is a lock knife, so I'm not actually worried about yeah, that's not gone through at all. There's indents in my mouse pad where I've just done that because of the fact that obviously, yeah, I've got one extra hole in there now. Actually, no, I've got two holes, haven't I? Because I poked the FS through twice. But yeah, let me just go for a very specific bit of it. There we go. Right, a really good thrust with the knife there made a bit of an indent, but obviously that was on a flat surface, which isn't what the human body's like when you're like I said, if you have it against a thing like this, and I'm not going to do it obviously against that, and I've already broken the sort of yeah, I'd have to test that, Saint. But like I said, with this, again, they said it's like only rated when it's against soft materials. So it's not one that's rated if you put it against, like I was just doing there. If you put it flat on a surface and do that, it's not rated against that. They said, obviously, if you want to test that, get a bit of meat or a load of folded towels, which is what I did the other day when I stabbed it like that. And when I did it against a load of towels, the toilet tissue underneath didn't get cut at all. You know, it got indented. But again, like I said, it's the best I could find of yeah, so you always tend, with a lot of these things, you tend to always get the point go through a little bit, even with a lot of the proper stab materials that are actually like the really good rated ones you get in the UK, like the knife resistant 2 ones or whatever. With some of those, yeah, so with some of those, they're still considered a pass, even if unless it's one that's against hypodermic needles, where obviously they have a different standard because of like the biological hazard sort of thing with them. With the sort of standard ones, it's as long as the blade doesn't penetrate the backside by a certain amount. I don't know what the actual number is, but if if just the tiniest tip of the blade goes through, that's still considered a pass, because it's not going to cause a lethal injury or that much of a serious injury to the person underneath. And if you had a vest like that, or something made out of that material, and you were wearing it on top of other clothing, the knife blade wouldn't have even gone through that clothing enough to get to you. So it's one of those sort of things. So yeah, out of interest, yeah, so where I stabbed that against my mouse mat like that, and I can see the little indents, there's not actually, it's not gone through the mouse mat. It's, put a little mark in the top of the mouse mat, but not gone through. Yeah, and again, saying I can't afford anything like that at the moment. Again, you can get chainmail, obviously, as like medieval reenactment chainmail, and you can get that in proper like the proper not butted stuff, but like the riveted chainmail of a really good grade. But yeah. And Dave said he's got a question. He would like to install a rubber exhalation valve on your OM14, which it didn't come with. Any suggestions? Thinking of a rubber sheet of about 1 millimeter. Which one's the OM14? Let me double check which one that is. OM14 gas mask. So what? That's the old like Polish Soviet type thing, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I'd say. I mean, you can buy umbrella valves in various sizes, but yeah, otherwise, some sort of latex sheet, like you said, that's 1 or 2 millimeters thick. The actual Soviet valves are about probably 2 millimeters thick, 3 millimeters thick. And then you just need to maybe glue onto the back of it something to act as the bit it catches on, like I said, like, because the actual ones have the umbrella valve sort of thing, where you've got one little sort of bit that sticks through the mask that catches it. Unless you're on about the internal bit, because with those masks, they've got both an external and an internal rubber valve. Again, this isn't the best example, especially unless I've got one of the Soviet masks laying around. Actually, yeah, this is actually closer than the modern thing. So yeah, with the valves on them, they're going to be like this sort of thing. This is obviously on one of the masks Myra resells. It's done that thing again where it's no longer live on the live stream. But yeah, it's this sort of thing where it's if it focuses. But yeah, it's just typical umbrella valve, isn't it? But I think on those masks like the OM14, they're probably the rectangle shape, aren't they? Rather than circular. Yeah, that's all set up. I haven't bothered moving it to the whatever bag, but like I said, I have got an IFAC set up, so I just bought another pre-built IFAC, like I said. And I've already got one set up anyway for my body armor. But yeah, I've got a separate one that I can have with me if I went out and about somewhere and I was worried about getting enriched. Okay, so how will that work then? Is it where it switches lenses at certain ranges or what? But yeah, the 3 is still really, really good. I've only seen series 1 of Stranger Things, and I heard it went to shit, so I haven't really got any interest in watching it. So don't know what you mean by the elephant gas mask scene. I haven't watched many modern TV things at all in recent years. Last series I watched, which is very good, was the Mussolini series. That was it was like Sky Atlantic, wasn't it? And one of the other like Italian or French companies that made that. But that's been the last like good series I've watched. There's not been much that's interested me on TV. Most of the series I like HBO ones from the early 2000s, like Deadwood and things like that. There's not been just much I've watched of interest recently. Okay, that sounds quite interesting, yeah. So do you just select which one you want to use using the camera settings then? But I suppose, again, until it's released and whatever, you wouldn't really know, would you, how it would work? But yeah, you probably select in the settings, don't you, which camera you want for what you're doing. Right. Is there anything in the interesting in the news today? I'm just going to have a look at that while we're talking. There's what the main thing on the news now is about the flu jab. Is it too late to get a flu jab? Should I wear a mask? We answer your questions as cases rise. Because yeah, loads and loads of people are getting the flu at the moment. And lots of people are worried they might do a COVID-style lockdown again. I'll do a video on this, actually, because it's quite interesting. But yeah, like I said, I did get the flu jab because I'm clinically vulnerable, even though they don't offer you COVID jabs anymore, even if I wanted one potentially, you know, because a lot of years I haven't bothered getting them. I got them a lot when the first wave of COVID was coming out, but they now they're like, oh, you have to be over 70 or whatever it is, or be work for the NHS or whatever. So I didn't get one because I wasn't going to pay for a COVID jab. But the good thing is, at least where I'm not doing my current job, the amount of germs I'm now exposed to is, you know, way lower. Entire Russian column destroyed entering Pogrovsk, whatever. What vehicles have they got here then? Is it fucking barns again on wheels? Tracks? It's quite far, the drone footage. I can't really see. Oh, there's an FPV going in. Oh yeah, it's it's shit vehicles again. It's because all the proper tanks are gone at this stage. Anyway, we'll go back to the live stream. Yeah, that's cool, Rajiv. Sounds good. My mum had to get a rabies jab a while ago, but that was because she was bitten by a dog, and it was just like a precaution thing they do, even though there's no cases of rabies known in the UK. Yeah, again, I've had that problem with animals, you know, at animal shelters where they seem really sweet one minute and then all of a sudden. Yeah, was that the one that just crashed into a river or the sea somewhere? Again, what do you mean by working really well? They can produce lots of them, and they eat up a lot of FPV drones each in terms of that. But if you're still in them, you're still on a death sentence. It's just that, you know, it's unlikely the first FPV drone gets you. It's normally like the second or the third. But I wouldn't say they work really well. I haven't even seen that, Rajiv. But yeah, I know it used to be like if you went to bits of Europe, you were meant to get a rabies jab. But, you know, most of the time in the UK, you're all right. But again, if you work with animals in certain industries, you're still meant to get rabies jabs as a sort of thing. And like I said, I won't be on too long today because, like I said, I have caught something. I'm hoping it's not that horrible flu at the moment. But, you know, like I said, I don't really know exactly what it is. But I've got a sore throat. At times of the day, I get a runny nose. And then other times of the day, I'm just coughing a lot. But I've not heard that, Saint, but might potentially. I know that as well, as you get global warming and everything, lots of animals that, you know, like previously wouldn't have, you know, been in the UK migrate here, either like bird-wise or mosquito-wise, because I know malaria is potentially a thing you can catch here now. But yeah, Rajiv, I was saying I'm really glad that I'm not working where I used to work, because that was a place where like literally every weekend you'd catch a new bug because of just the recycled air and, you know, all the people coughing and sneezing. Yeah, they've had that a couple of years in a row, haven't they, with like various plane crashes? Because they had the Red Army Choir one year, didn't they? One group of the Red Army Choir wiped out in a plane crash. Nope. Let me search that up. I did hear about another load of avian flu we've got over here, like, or like some sort of bird flu that's, you know, not spreading to humans, but they're having to quarantine it in a lot of places, and it might affect people's turkeys at Christmas. But we don't have turkey for Christmas anyway. I suppose we still have. Please allow ads on our site. Oh, fine, fuck off then. 48 ads blocked. No, I'm not going to look at Metro then. So it might be a fatal thing, but again, I can't find a news site that's covering it without being infested with ads and then stopping me using an ad blocker. I'll actually just look at the Barcelona website and see if it, with Google Translate, translating for me. The alarm has gone off in Catalonia and has put something in emergency mode. The government, through its spokeswoman, has announced declaration of emergency to act immediately to stop spread of African swine fever, highly contagious and lethal virus of pigs, although harmless to humans. So what would that just destroy loads of not agriculture? What's the word for the meat industry? Because agriculture is just crops, isn't it? But you know what I mean, a similar sort of thing. Yeah, so just destroy the meat industry now. So you're saying, although again, you probably can't drive very well now, can you? A lot across Russia because of all of the refineries going up and lack of fuel in places other than like Moscow and St. Petersburg. Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? If you're doing certain jobs, you literally can't avoid getting infected, especially if you're like me, have a weakened immune system. Because again, in my old job, what would happen is we had recycled air in the winter, where they just had those sort of heaters that would blow air around the building, but obviously they kept all the windows shut to keep the cold out. But obviously that meant that, you're just breathing the same air over and over and over again that just keeps going through a fan and a heater. And you'd get the combination of people bringing their little kids in. And again, kids are like a horrible virus vector in terms of, like spreading germs. And then you'd get all the old people and that, and you get the people that were just coughing and sneezing everywhere. And then if you're cleaning stuff up, you'd have to be cleaning up all their snotty tissues and that. And you never know how many people have touched certain door handles and things like that. So, yeah. Well, that's kind of interesting. So it's another potentially a bit like COVID. It might have come from a lab leak. Wow, it's almost like these labs ought to have better standards for not allowing viruses to leak. But yeah, it's because my mum used to work in a school and she used to constantly get like colds and things as well, because of the fact that obviously school kids would have just constantly been infected with stuff. So yeah, so at the moment, we've got this swine flu taking out the pork. So can't have your pork. There's a potential bird flu over here that will get rid of all your turkey and your poultry. And there's a human flu going around that, while isn't really, I don't think, any more fatal than a normal flu for healthy people, it just makes you feel miserable. Oh, and Trump's trying to start a war with Venezuela. Nobody will ask about the Epstein files if I start a war. I won my what's it? Nobel Peace Prize. The best way to get a Nobel Peace Prize is to start a war. So that's all going on at the moment. It's felt like the end times every year for the last few years at the moment, because we had COVID, then we had Monkey starting his fucking war and threatening to nuke everyone. And it just seems like things only ever, again, it's the joke I like. Either you can either insert Soviet or Russian, depending on what you want to do it. But what does the Russian optimist say? Things couldn't possibly get any worse. So, yeah. Yeah, regarding the flu thing, apparently the cases have risen more than 50% in 1 week. And they don't think we're close to the peak yet. So yeah, I'm really glad I'm not working a job at the moment where I have to be social with people. I probably picked the right time to quit. Like I said, to have basically a breakdown and then hand my notice in for my mental health. But like I said, otherwise I was going to plan on working through December. But I suppose silver linings to everything. Oxford isn't too high on the list at the moment. London looks pretty fucking bad. Birmingham looks bad. Leeds looks bad. Well, basically, it's all the big cities look bad. The South Coast doesn't look too bad, but I suppose that's because it's relatively nice on the South Coast and a bit warmer. And that's only showing England. It's not showing Scotland, so I don't know what it's like in Glasgow and Edinburgh. But, yeah. London looks particularly bad. Hopefully Sadiq Khan gets it and he doesn't have fun. I got the FIFA Peace Prize. Nobody does football better than me, even though we call it soccer. So yeah, that's interesting, eh? Yeah, like I said, I'll do a video on the flu type stuff in the next couple of days because people might be interested. I assume, like with most respiratory infections and illnesses, if you have a mask with particulate level 3 filters on it, you're going to be a lot better protected than if you haven't got a mask. But the main thing is just washing your hands a lot and not touching your eyes and your face constantly after, touching stuff. Oh yeah, that was another thing. MB Plovers said something that was in the news yesterday or 2 days ago. Yeah, they want to look at your social media now when you go into the US in case you said nasty things about Trump in the last couple of years. At least I think that's what they're implying with it. So yeah, even though if you went back a couple of years ago, I wouldn't have said too much bad about Trump, but they wouldn't let me in now probably because I've made fun of him a little bit. So, yeah. What a world we live in, eh? So, yeah, he wants to start probably a war with Venezuela. He's, he's trying to stop people entering the US. He's sending ICE after everybody who, a lot of them aren't illegal immigrants, but, And, he's cozying up with Putin for some reason. So apparently he wants to do a thing where he gets closer to Russia, but further away from China and Europe. So that naturally means that the European countries are going to become more allied with China. And if he'd have thought about this properly, which obviously he hasn't, again, it's probably to do with personal enrichment with Putin giving him money, that, China is the up and coming power you want to be allied with. Not a failing petro state that's stuck in a war. Yeah, I can understand what you mean by that. Yeah, that if you're somebody they don't like in the UK where they do the thing where they can say you're a suspected terrorist and they need to look through all the material on your phone, and it generally seems to be used against political opponents of whatever government's currently in power. A bit like at the moment how Keir Starlin's stopping he's trying to do all this stuff against Farage at the moment, and he's stopping local elections, isn't he, in places. Yeah, but it will be different for them, you see, Visa, because what they'll say is, oh, it's different, So yeah, I'll finish streaming fairly soon because my parents are back now. But like I said, I've been on quite a while. Well, not ages, 35 minutes. But like I said, I am a bit under the weather at the moment. Like I said, I'm not terrible compared to some people I know that have caught stuff at the moment. I'm pretty good actually. But because like one of my mates has been coughing and like wheezing, you know, for like the past week straight, you know, to the point where his voice sounds like he's been, you know, like chewing on sandpaper kind of thing. But yeah, I did have a bit of lemon stuff earlier. I'm going to have a bit of food in a bit, Rajiv. That's all right, Visa. Like I said, I'm going off fairly soon anyway. It was only a short one today. But yeah, I will, even though the dual stream thing still doesn't work with YouTube, what I will do is probably stream a lot more frequently when I do stream using this Omni Pocket free, or whatever it's called, Osmo Pocket free, the DJI little camera, because like I said, the good thing with this is you can do either vertical or horizontal streams, and it's much better at autofocus and better in low lighting. So for example, if I just, before I go off, flick off all the lighting I'm using. So let's flick off this little thing here. Flick off this light. So we'll just light it using the computer screen alone. And this is on a relatively dark thing. Yeah, again, like lighting isn't great, but it's not as bad as it would be if I was just using the webcam for this. So yeah, that's so it's never meant to be a freighter and bodge job. Yeah. So it's one of those things that essentially is a bit like if you're in a car and the engine isn't running, the all the other systems don't run. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a particularly good design choice. So anyway, yeah, so like I said, you do kind of need at least one light on with this. Like I said, that's just but the good thing is, like I said, even that lamp that normally isn't very good for lighting is actually pretty good with this. So yeah, that's good. What I just want to quickly test before I go off as well is if I do a pure white screen test. Your connection is not private. Proceed. I've used this site lots of times. It's completely fine. Right. So yeah, I'm just wondering how it looks for this. So again, I look a bit probably washed out now. But yeah, even if I have the screen set to just pure white, that gives off enough illumination that the Pocket 3 picks it up properly. So like I said, it does work quite well, this little camera. Like I said, it's obviously it's best when you've got a proper like light, either a softbox or whatever. Like I said, I have got a softbox thing coming via Amazon tomorrow, if it turns up tomorrow, because with both Amazon, Royal Mail, and like every parcel courier at the moment, because it's coming up to Christmas, stuff that's meant to be next day delivery is often like 3 days delivery now. And the other week I had a parcel that was meant to be like an expedited delivery that would be with me within like 4 days at the latest, and it ended up being like a week and a half. It's because it's just pure white. It's pure like LED white. Yeah, the top the light I'm using at the moment is just this one, the like desk lampy kind. Well, it's a floor lamp, you know what I mean? It's like one of those neck floor lamps, but this is one that doesn't work with my phone or the regular webcam very well, because you have to get it at just the right angle so it doesn't wash everything out. Where the good thing with this is it seems that unless I have it at, you know, whatever, like I said, with the good thing with the Pocket 3 is it seems that you don't need the light, you know, you don't need to be really precise the angle. As long as it's not coming in sideways, it's all right. Whereas when I'm using that webcam, you have to really try and get that light quite far back so it doesn't catch any of the glare coming in from the side. So yeah, anyway, like I said, I'll go off now. Yeah, the plane's on fire. Start the engine. No, it's just the northern lights. So yeah, I'll be off now. So I've got a video on tomorrow about that stab neck thing. Yeah, cheers everyone. And like I said, this is actually very easy to set up with this light as well. But yeah, it's just because I think the Pocket 3 is a much better camera in terms of like light sensors and everything else. So yeah, regardless, what was I going to say? That so tomorrow the video on is, members can already watch it, but the video is, I'll tell you how long it is while I'm on here. The video is 12 minutes 46, and it's about the Faith Shield. That's the actual name of this Chinese company, Faith Shield. And they do, interestingly, make things other than just the neck protectors. They do that big one I've bought. They do a smaller one that's just kind of like one that just goes around your neck, a bit like a scarf. And they also do like cut-proof trousers and things like that, stab-proof trousers, but they're quite expensive. They're like £200. But they do quite a lot of products. But I was looking on their AliExpress store, and they do quite a bit of stuff, which is quite interesting. So, yeah, like I said, that's Face Shield one is the one tomorrow. And then the next day video, I might do a thing on the flu thing because it's in the news at the moment, which probably means more people will be interested in it. But there's also one I want to do on gas masks and radiation. Oh yeah, don't forget to like the video before I go off, yeah, because that means YouTube shares them more often. But yeah, so they're the next upcoming videos. But the nice thing at the moment is, obviously, because I've not got any set work days at the moment, it means most days I've got a bit of free time to do a video, and I don't need to try and think about preloading like a load of videos up on each day. I can just basically, in a bit of free time, get a video filmed and schedule it for the next day. So that's the kind of nice thing at the moment if I'm doing a daily video. And if not, it's very easy for me to do at least a couple of videos per week or whatever, because I've not got the problem at the moment of like being at work for a load of days per week and then having to cram everything else I need to do in per week on my free days. I've got more time to do YouTube stuff. Like I said, if the YouTube stuff kicks off a bit more again at the moment, then I'm not going to be as in such a hurry for looking for another job, and I wouldn't need to necessarily do as many days per week. But we're just gonna have to wait and see, because again, the UK economy is fucked anyway with cost of living and everything else and inflation. So but they were discussing this actually when I was listening to the radio earlier, and it was a radio show from a couple of days ago, but it was about how the government is trying to do a thing that if people haven't been in work, like they're neat and they're claiming benefits, the government's going to try and force them into work, and then cut their benefits if they don't accept a job, which I kind of agree with. But you'd have to hope they're actually offering people jobs that are suitable for them and not just random shit. But they were mostly on about the fact, like, why do a lot of people want to work minimum wage if minimum wage isn't going to support you? Because if the cost of everything goes up, so the point you're working 50 hours a week on minimum wage to just barely cover your bills with no spare money, they were saying they can completely understand why some people are benefit scroungers and everything, because it means your system is fucked if people are disincentivized from actually working because of how bad the venture capitalist sort of super over the top parasitic capitalist kind of things become, that have to work yourself to death to even afford anything basic. And they were going back to how they were saying that like in the 70s or 80s or whatever, you could have one person work full-time in a household, one person not work or work part-time, and you'd have all your bills covered, still be able to afford holidays and everything else. But we don't live in that scenario anymore, do we? So yeah, anyway, have a good day, everybody. I've ranted long enough. Yeah, it's good to know that the Pocket 3 is definitely the best of the cameras I've got for doing a stream like this. And I will hopefully be on tomorrow. Like I said, if my throat gets really, really sore and I can't talk much, I'll just try and film a short video and then not do a stream. But yeah, have a good day, everybody. I might go have a little nap in a minute because I'm quite fatigued from feeling a bit ill. But yeah, have a good day, everybody. See you all when I see you.